Hello, hello.
Hi, Meryl.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I'm gonna go get my tea. I'll be right back.
Sure enough.
Okay.
You're back on mute, Ron. Do you have any interest in taking meeting notes? I can wait.
Yeah, I can do it, Meryl. I'll do
Oh,
it this time.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So let you know, we played volleyball outdoors today.
Is that amazing or what?
Yeah, pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, it's incredible. We're still picking raspberries
Wow.
in the garden. That's pretty phenomenal.
Oh, boy.
Okay, let me see what this is. So how's been out on the Cape?
Yeah, it's been good. We're back here now about a week we've been back here sort of full time. So,
Oh, okay. So did you have a wonderful time at the other house?
yeah, we did.
Any plans to make the move permanent or not?
No, we're gonna continue the dual household thing.
Very nice. Hey, why not if you can do it?
Yeah. I'm gonna try to get that light out of the background there. There we go.
Oh, there's a new feature. Let me see if I can do this. Hello, Marla.
Hi there. Always takes me 4 or 5 steps to get this thing figured out.
I know. Try starting it on the town's web thing. Well, I'm just listed as meeting host.
Hi, Marla.
Hi, how are you, Ron?
I'm good, thanks. You?
That's good.
Okay, I'm looking at my different options here. Hi, Steve. Let's see more. Okay. I'm just playing
Okay.
while we're waiting. Everyone get their boosters?
Yes,
Yeah.
got my booster.
Anyone get sick?
Nope.
Nope,
Not at all. No.
nope,
I
nope,
did.
not even a sore arm.
Wow.
Joe got a little sick.
Yeah,
But,
I did. I didn't get super sick, but I had wicked chills in the middle of the night. It was like my core of my body couldn't warm up. I haven't really experienced that before.
Wow.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
I'm
Grace.
Grace. I'm
Hello.
not going to say.
Grace.
I just was popping in to make sure you guys all got in okay.
It's
So
rather
far, so
amazing, but it looks like we did.
Oh, good.
Gail.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you,
Oh,
Grace.
good. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks
You too.
again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi,
Well, I
Steve.
turned in late. Were you talking about the booster?
Yeah.
Yeah. okay.
Yeah, how did you do?
I'm due tomorrow.
Oh, not all of them had no reaction, so let's hope that's your situation.
I had, I was gonna say wicked. That's not true. 3 days of just zero energy after the first and second vaccinations.
Yeah,
No headache, none of the bad stuff, but just,
oh, that's good.
I mean, I sat like a stone on the sofa for hours on
Hey,
end.
Tim.
I've heard a lot of fatigue.
Hi,
By the
guys.
way, everybody, this is being recorded, so just so you know.
Okay.
Good caution.
Yeah, just so everyone is aware of that. And I think I'm supposed to say something about that this is a Zoom meeting and that the public is welcome to join us. And I don't know the rest of the thing because I didn't get any language on it, but it's something to that effect that it's being recorded and we're open to the public. And we have a quorum, so if no one objects, I'm going to start the meeting. Welcome, everybody. Our first order of business is to approve Marla's excellent minutes. And fortunately, Ron has agreed to take minutes for this meeting, just so everyone knows.
You mean
Thank
Susan.
Ron. I move approval of Marla's minutes. I thought they were terrific.
Yes. Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Any,
Aye.
is there any changes I should have asked? I'm sorry.
No,
Okay, excellent.
Thank you
Meeting-
for the vote of confidence. I had completely forgotten that I had been the minute taker until I saw them. Oh, really?
well, you know what? You can do them every time if you really want to.
No, thank you. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, it's nice to spread it around because unless anyone really likes to do it, because no one seems to like to do it.
No,
Okay, contracts, grants, update. I put Merrill and Gary. The main thing is that our hauler contract is coming due. It's going to be ending at the end of this fiscal year. However, with solid waste contracts, you can extend the contract at least for a year, as long as the contractor agrees, without having to go out to bid. And Gary, do you know if it's more than just 1 year or is it multiple years?
I think it's just 1 year and then you can negotiate
Yeah.
at that point.
So
Hang on, I'm gonna turn on my, turn up my volume here a little bit.
Okay, and given that we've, basically things have been going well with our trash hauler, and that it doesn't seem like we had many bids last time. The second bid that we got was almost double what the first one was.
Right.
Talked briefly with Becky about it, and what we suggest doing is actually requesting that we vote on extending the contract for a year. Gives us some more lead time so that prices really won't go up for the town. And then ask the select board to ask Becky to make sure that happens. So if we voted at this meeting, I'll get in touch with her.
Has Becky been in touch with USA?
I think she was waiting to get the approval. She's such a full plate, so I think she's waiting to get the vote from us and to go to the select board so that she moves forward to work with them. That was.
Okay. Okay,
her-
well, I move that we ask Becky to get in touch with USA Recycle for an extension of 1 year.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments on it?
Merrill,
Yep.
I would request that in any of these correspondence with Becky, that you CC the select board so that it's not all on Becky's plate to make sure that these communications actually take place.
Oh, sure,
And that we have
And
some,
with us,
and with us, yes.
yeah.
sure. I will do that, after this meeting, I will say, but first we'll take the vote, but if everyone approves, then I will send Becky an email with, or I'll actually send it to the select board with the CC to Becky and the
Right.
committee.
That's a good idea.
That's even
Yeah.
better. Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
so then, would someone like to make a motion to request the select board to instruct Becky to extend the contract with the
So moved.
yeah. And they're now called United, what's the name of them now? It was Alternative Waste Systems.
It's
Alternative
USA,
Recycling Systems.
USA Recycle.
Yeah, USA Recycling. Okay. So with USA Recycling.
It's hard to keep up with it.
Yeah.
It changes every time we turn around.
I know, it does. The solid waste industry and trash hauling
I
industry is a
think we
very
were,
dynamic industry.
I think we were very lucky that USA Recycle bought out alternative recycling because we got a great deal from alternative recycling. And then they bought them out and they were constrained to continue that contract.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do now.
Yeah.
Because
Gary,
I don't,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just don't know that anybody else will bid on a contract in Shutesbury.
Well, that was my next comment, and that is, so this buys us a year, but then we'll be back to looking around. And maybe at your next coordinators meeting or something, can you start feeling around for what people are doing on their hauler contracts? You know,
Yeah.
the contract that basically you, Gail, and I put together last time was pretty strong contract. So we have what we need with probably just a little bit of tweaking to go out to bid.
Yeah,
again
I
if
think
we
that's
have to.
right. We changed the dates and so forth, but I think we can anticipate that the bids are going to be a lot higher than they were last time. We had two bids. One was way off the charts. You
Well, and it
know,
was
the
our existing hauler at the time.
Republic, yeah, it was
Yeah.
way off the charts. And the other one came in on the very last day. And so, you know, we were very fortunate. And I don't know what it's going to be this time.
Yeah.
Is there anything, language in the current contract about renewals or renewal at an advantaged rate?
Did you say?
I don't think
What
so.
kind of rate?
Advantage. So if, is there some incentive for us to renew rather than to set out a whole new?
Oh, I think they actually hold the last year or might have a small increase to reflect hauling gas increases. I'm just looking at the price proposal
Yeah,
right now.
I was just wondering if they offered some incentive to renew.
I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember that, yeah, that
No.
being in there.
No, I think in a prior contract, though, we had like a 3 or 5 year extension option. And I think that's something we should consider putting right in the original contract, but it was a 5-year contract and there's so many unknowns into the future. I don't know how open contractors will be to.
We did
knowing
have
what the
something
world's
about,
gonna do that far out.
I think we did put something in there about fuel costs.
There was an
you know, that-
escalated clause. for
Yeah,
fuel.
yeah.
There are unknowns for them and for us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if it
so
goes
that
down, but
seems-
how often?
That
is
seems
that?
fair that they have some kind of an equilibration.
Yeah,
We will have to go out to bid. I mean, even if we get this year extension, we'll still have to go out to bid, and that's, you know, everything's so uncertain now.
Iffy.
We really don't know what's going to happen after a year.
Yeah.
But it's what we have to do, you know.
So is that a state regulation, Gary,
What's that?
that we have to go out to bid? Is that required by the state?
Well, unless we can negotiate directly, you know, with one of the haulers.
yeah.
um,
Solid
You know, we
waste
could,
is- Yeah, it's in its own category.
we don't have to go out to bid.
So, yeah, it's one of the very few large contracts that it is exempt from the bidding laws. But we
Yeah.
have done that to try to get the best deal for the town. I'm wondering, Gary, if you can also check and see if any other towns do, maybe we could do multi-town bid and it would help our chances.
That's an interesting question. You know who the new regional recycling coordinator is? Susan Waite.
Oh, yeah, right,
And
nice.
Susan was
Over at the Murph, you mean, at DEP? At
well,
the-
she was, no, not Merce. She was the recycling coordinator for Amherst and then became the recycling coordinator of Northampton and has now taken over Veronique's job.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nick Blanchard's job.
And she's good. She's
Yeah.
very good. And she knows us and likes us. So, you know, I think she'll be helpful. But we haven't had a meeting, obviously, because of the COVID regional meeting yet. But I can get in touch with Susan and see what she thinks is going on.
Okay, Gary, let's start that now, just so
Yeah,
that
I'm writing it down.
we start putting feelers out.
Meryl,
Yeah,
if I may, I would suggest that we pursue those sort of, let's call personal back channels before we bring anything to the select board. That we find out for ourselves what the possibilities are.
well, I think it'll take a little while for the select board. I mean, we can, but it seems like we have such a good deal right now. I'm not sure we come close if we have to go. out to
Not
bid.
saying what we decided already is to be different, but that in terms
You
of
mean the
going
next,
forward. Yeah.
after that? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's why I think we need to talk to Susan. And to
But you
the
know,
other,
I'm sorry.
the other members, there are lots of small towns involved, you know, in the regional recycling group. And, you know, we actually, Arlene Miller organized one that gave us a good contract with the former COVID, you know, I mean, the COVID, I mean, the
Vanta?
Oh, Vanta. Yeah.
you know, the place that takes our trash now. And so that might be a good connection too, because she's now the recycling coordinator of Ludlow. I mean, not Ludlow, but Long Meadow. So, you know, we can, I will ask around. I'll see what people
Wonderful.
are thinking.
And we have a
Yeah.
wonderful long history with her, a very cooperative long history.
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah.
So Gail, just so that I'm clear, you're not suggesting that we wait for to ask the select board to extend the contract for
No,
you?
no.
Okay.
We go ahead and do that. It takes care of the next year. And then after that, let's do our own.
Oh, yes, that'll take quite a while.
Yeah,
anyway, So
yeah,
that's
okay.
great.
Yeah, thanks for
Could I
clarifying.
get some clarification on something?
Yeah.
You said that the current company bought out the previous company. When that was done, was a new contract negotiated with the current company, or did they just continue the old contract?
They
They took
continue
the
the
old-
old contract.
Yeah.
So if they continued it, is there any risk at all that they will resist renewing it because it's at such a reasonable price? And
Well,
if
that's
you
what
so,
we'll find out.
You mean, Tim, are you asking, will they resist extending it a year?
correct.
Yeah,
It's possible. It's
Right.
quite possible.
don't know that.
If that's possible and it expires in June, what would we be doing to make sure we have a backup just in case there's a dispute?
Going out to bid.
Exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
We would-
Okay,
we would
I
have to
wasn't
develop
clear to the
a
timing
replacement.
of going out to bid. You're talking about doing that right away.
We would have to if they're not going to extend. That's why we're asking so far in advance.
Okay, so you are gonna
Yeah.
ask them very soon.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna ask them
Okay,
to do it
okay.
right away so that we have time to go out to bid. And the bid
Okay.
process will take a few months. So, you know, we have basically 6 months, so we should be.
Okay,
fine.
that wasn't clear. Thank you.
Given that someone bids on the contract, that's always an issue. But, I mean, they're out there, so hopefully they would.
We are not the easiest town to service, frankly, when it comes to haulers. We've got a lot of
Right.
dirt roads. We've got a lot of roads that in the
Hills.
winter are almost impossible. You know, so it's, you know, we don't get a lot of bids. Let's put it that way.
Impassable winter roads.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a lot of towns have that, but ours is hilly too, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
a challenge.
Like I say, we
why we
only
have
got
to
2
bring them
last time.
Yeah, that's why we have to bring our trash up to the top of the road for the winter. All right, any more questions on, how about grant update, Gary? Anything on that?
Haven't heard yet about our grants, about our proposals. Last year, we finally got our arrangement with Leverett recognized, and that allowed us to get a $2,800 grant from the DEP, which
That's
was
great.
really helped us pay for the bags. And this year, I'm hoping that we get the same thing because I put the same, exactly the same application in with my little note saying, you know, small towns need to cooperate and this is what we're doing. And it worked last time, so I'm hoping it works this time too.
Great.
Good, thank you, Gary.
Excellent, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, next item, universal waste collection changes. So Gary was contacted by Becky that there had been some concerns from the staff at town hall that the collection of mercury-bearing waste in the room with the copy room, couple of issues. One was they were just concerned of having, you know, basically hazardous waste being stored in town hall, especially the mercury-bearing the fluorescent bulbs. And it was just taking up a lot of space in that room, and they needed help moving that down to the, well, we move it down to the shed. Gary and I do that usually. So anyway, in response to that, we met with Becky, and the upshot was we're going to no longer take the fluorescent bulbs because Home Depot takes all the fluorescent bulbs. I mean, you can't bring in 5 billion of them, but like up to 10 long bulbs at a time, and also the smaller bulbs. They'll take them at no charge, and Lowe's will take everything but the 8-footer bulbs. You can take the 4-footers at Home Depot. So we're no longer going to be dealing with the fluorescent bulbs.
Right.
We're going to keep the collection of reusable batteries, the thermostats, anything with mercury in it.
Anything with mercury in them, yeah.
And
You know, all the rechargeable batteries, the little micro batteries that are out there, all that stuff. We'll set up something, and we're thinking of doing it downstairs in Town Hall. So people can just come in, drop them off. It's away from the copy room and away from the people who, are worried about, fluorescent tubes breaking, because
Fair
people
enough.
do put broken bulbs, in there. And every time I go in to clean it up, I get angry again. But they do. They put in bulbs and broken bulbs and stuff. So we're going to try to get a better handle on this. And NLR, which is the company that comes and picks up our universal waste, is coming next week or the week after. I think it might be next week on a Monday. And so we'll get that all cleaned out, the shed all cleaned out, and we'll set up, they're going to give us some 5-gallon buckets that we can use for things like thermostats, thermometers, batteries, some people have really large rechargeable batteries, and so we'll keep collecting those. And it will also save us money because we won't need to call NLR all that often if we don't have fluorescent bulbs. And it's expensive, for them to come pick stuff up. So it's I think it works out better for the town, certainly for the people who work in Town Hall.
And so a lot of those items are also accepted at the Leverett transfer station.
I'm not sure yet. I haven't heard.
Okay, I thought that the bulbs were.
I have not heard from Annette, and she said she would check and get back to me. But I'm waiting to hear from her before I send out a notice about what we're doing, to make sure that people have, at least a couple of options.
I would just say though, if you're planning, if they're coming like next week or the week after, you have to get something out pretty quickly. So if you can check with her again, that would be helpful to try to get that information before you, so we can get the
I think I'm gonna.
town announced. And
I think I'm just gonna get it out and say you can take it to Home Depot or or Lowe's.
Okay.
And
Steve,
then
you
if-
had
You
your
can, I
hand
think you
first?
can, go ahead.
Steve, you had your hand up first.
I was just gonna say that you can take batteries to Home Depot and Lowe's as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, that's
Although
good.
I've been in there and had a reusable battery and they wouldn't take it
Where
at Home
They have
Depot.
a drop-off box.
Lowe's does.
I've taken batteries at Home Depot several times.
Oh, okay, so the person I asked didn't know that, and so we couldn't do it. Gail?
Gary, could you give me a list of those things which will be accepted at Town Hall? And I'll post an alert on the town website that fluorescent tubes are no longer accepted and these things are.
Yes. And I will put the same thing out on
Town
next to
Announce.
Shutesbury and Town Announce. Yeah.
Okay, good, okay.
Yeah.
And
it may
again, a
be-
reminder that these things are can be dropped off at Lowe's or Home Depot. Home Depot has got a smaller list of acceptables, but
And, some people were putting old cell phones in the town hall copy room. All that stuff can go down to Staples now.
Yeah.
oh, the
Um,
electronics, we can repost that too.
Yeah, that's
There's a whole
there.
list of,
That's there, yeah. So, I think we can clean that up a little bit, make the folks who work in town hall feel better about, safer.
Yeah.
So, and save some money too.
good enough.
But
For
it's
the
nice to still be able to bring a handful of things up there, so it's worth keeping
Right.
that. So that sounds.
Because I don't think anybody takes thermometers or thermostats or any of that stuff. So those things are still going to be we're still going to need to deal with those.
Yeah. And we also, I just remember, Gary, we have a lot of cardboard that we want to get rid of that's in the shed. But I
Right.
remember our gardeners are actually looking for big sheets of cardboard like that. So
let 'em-
I may try and connect up with some of them. We can even save it for the community garden behind town hall and offer it to them. So that
That's
we're
great.
not just, yeah,
That's great. Yeah.
I think that would be good.
Because they're way back when that stuff's been in there a long time. I think when Paul Vlach was the
Really? It
recycling
goes
coordinator.
back that far?
Yeah, I think those 8-footer cardboard boxes have been in there for that long.
Wow. That'll
yeah, I
make
think
some people some gardeners very happy, actually.
Yep.
They're welcome to them.
Yeah. This is the best part of recycling, reuse, the highest form.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay, great. Trash bag distribution. I just want to say if anyone had any thoughts of how things went this year and if you love the beautiful shed as much as I did.
I think we need to order bags in February.
Yeah.
Well, in advance.
And compost bins. We ran out of compost bins so fast. I think we're gonna have to go for 40 next time.
I
even
think
though
you're right.
It'll be
And
hard to
also,
fit there.
and when Jan Amin does her recycling bin
Yeah,
thing again, I think we need to get 40 of those too.
but I feel like now that we've been in that shed for a little while, it felt like it had a lot more storage space than I sort of thought it did. I think we can fit all of those in there. I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
But we need to do it early
yeah,
Yes.
because we have a new vendor. He was having real trouble. He had a breakdown in his machinery. Had trouble getting drivers to deliver stuff. And so I think we can make a big order in February.
Why wait? Let's do it now.
Yeah, really. It can
Yeah.
sit there.
Yeah,
Let's do it now.
actually, let's do it now before the snow flies. That would even be better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And they may have the same
All
distribution
right, I
problems
will
that,
contact Becky. At one point, Becky was agreed that Meryl and I could learn how to do the ordering and do that. And then last time I talked to her, she was kind of backing off of that.
stick with it,
So
please.
I'm going to talk with her, and if she is willing to do the ordering, fine.
No,
If she's willing to do it now,
no, you stick with it. Remind her, it takes this off her plate. You're
yeah,
helping
that's-
her.
that's what worked before. We'll try that again.
yeah.
No,
And Gary, if you set up a meeting, I'd be happy to join you so that we can all
Absolutely, yeah.
hear the process so we can, I mean, it's basically just ordering it off the state contracts list.
Right.
Stick with it, please.
And I've got that spreadsheet, and you probably do too. We can, and there are only a couple of bag manufacturers in the state right now.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so the guy that Becky got last year was a new vendor. And part of the problem was COVID and all of that stuff, but part of the problem was he was new.
Yeah,
And so, we've got to cultivate a relationship and really get to know him and do it early
Yes.
so that, so we don't get stuck again.
Yep.
I mean, I think people were remarkably okay with getting one pack of bags.
Yeah, people, yeah, I didn't hear, a couple of
They
people
really-
grumbled a bit, but pretty much very little.
I ran into one grumpy guy. That was it. What? And everybody else said, okay, we understand. It's, these are hard times and, so,
But it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
but let's not do it again, right?
No, but Gary, if before we head up to town hall to do that, one of us should just stop in the shed and make sure that it's not full of bags now. I don't think it is. I think there are a bunch in there, but not a
It's
gazillion.
down a bit. We could get a whole new shipment in
Even
Okay.
if so, yeah.
and be ready for the spring. Yeah.
That would be
Great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Marla?
Marla,
Yeah, I just wanted to note, we were talking about the space in the shed. Tim and I were there in the hailstorm right after the compost bins had been delivered. And I would argue those things are big. They take up
Yeah.
a lot of space. And I don't know what you think, Tim, but I wouldn't say it was spacious in there, especially in a rainstorm where we couldn't put anything out in front.
Yeah.
So
I would
just-
say that part of the problem was that especially if it's raining, that they're just awkward to handle inside there.
Yeah,
There's several pieces to it. If you pick one up, a piece will fall through. So
yeah.
it was a little tight. Maybe some reorganization and some thought could take care of it, and we could put more in there.
Gail?
Is there any possibility that we could get like a canopy added to the front?
That would be a great idea.
that's not a bad idea. I bet we could buy a canopy.
So you could have it folded up, except when you need it, when you can just pull it down on post, stick it on the ground. And have
I'm
a place
thinking of
that's
one of those
protected from
little
some-
tent things that you can put up, but that would be even better if you
That'd
just,
be easier.
could roll it out or something. Yeah.
Right.
Do you know where you get one of those? Is that like something you get from an RV place or something?
I have no clue, but I'd be willing to look into it.
All right, that would be great if you can look around.
Yeah,
That'd be
let's
wonderful.
find out. Hey, great. Thank you, Gail.
Yeah.
That's great.
Good idea.
Wonderful.
Note to self.
Okay, excellent. Let's see, so otherwise, we selling plenty of Leverett Transfer Station stickers to cover our $3,000 cost for using the facility. We've covered that cost, so that's really worked out wonderful. And we should send roses to Leverett sometimes or
Well,
something.
I think we need to evaluate, what we're making on this and maybe give them a little more. Because, all we need to do is break even. And they could, they might add an hour or something like that on to one of the days if we could give them a little more. But I want to evaluate it, see what we have acquired. I think, we almost made our $3,000 before we sent the bags and the stickers up to town hall. I mean, that's how hot it was. I mean, people were buying these things, and we're almost, I think we're more than past the $3,000 that we give to Leverett right now.
Well, Gary, I've had trouble in the past trying to get those actual numbers of how much.
Well, all I need is the most recent sticker number, because I've got the original one, and I've got all the records that we kept when we were giving out bags and selling stickers. And all I need is where they are right now, and I can go back and see exactly how much we've made on
And make
stickers.
sure that the number jives with the account,
Right.
in the ballpark. That would be great. If
Yep.
you want to figure that out, that'd be wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Gary, do you want any updates on the textile collection that you were going to talk to?
Yeah, there are a couple of things that are happening now. The next year, the state is banning textiles in the waste stream and also mattresses. And we do not have a mattress recycling facility nearby. The DEP is giving grants to set these things up. But they're only grants to set them up, and then the towns have to foot the bill after that. And it's not easy. And it's not something that small towns can take on, because you need to get the DEP grant will pay for a big trailer to put the mattresses in, but it turns out that you need somebody to really be managing that. So it works much better in a transfer station than it would in a place like Shutesbury.
Yeah.
And we don't have anybody, who could go and watch people put the mattresses in, because if you don't do it well, you don't get a lot of them in there. People are throwing them in, and there's a guy up in Brattleboro who takes the mattresses, strips them out, gets the metal from them, recycles the innards, and all the textiles that go into it. So, but these things won't be accepted in landfills or in incinerators next year. So we need to figure out something. There is a textile drop-off place right now in the Leverett transfer station.
Right.
And Shutesbury folks can take their textiles down there. I don't think they know it, but they will. I mean, we'll be telling them as we get along. But we can't throw textiles out anymore. Now, of course, thing is, you throw a pair of old socks in a Shutesbury trash bag, who's going to know? But the whole point is to recycle these things, and you can recycle them in many ways. Goodwill and Salvation Army both take textiles as long as they're not smelly or wet. They will take them, and the ones they can clean up and sell, they'll do that, and the other ones they'll turn into rags, wiping rags and things like that, and also insulation. And so anyway, I'm just sort of raising this now because we have to be aware that in the coming year, I think it's midway through 22, that landfills and incinerators will have to stop taking these things. So
Nice to put an article about the new regulations and just some of this background information you're giving us on the town webpage, on the recycling and solid waste webpage.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, where are they supposed to go? If they can't go to those, they have to go out of state or what?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, what they're trying to do is force municipalities to set up mattress collection centers. Now, what I'd like to do is talk with Leverett about setting something like that up there, and maybe involving not just Shutesbury, but possibly Pelham and New Salem, or so that you have enough to make it worth the while of the person who comes and takes them away. A guy in Brattleboro, but I'm going to pursue that. But right now, that frankly, and I've been going to these regional meetings for years, and frankly, the state does not think about small towns when it makes these these rules, and so I think we have to think about collaborating with other places, so that we can do what needs to be done. Leverett's the only one I know that has a transfer station in the area, or at least close enough to us to use, and we have a good relationship with them. So, and I know Annette pretty well. We've worked together well, and I can at least have that conversation with her and find out what they're thinking about it. They don't have a recycling coordinator, which is kind of interesting, but they are members of the Franklin County, solid waste organization.
Leverett, you mean? Leverett
Pardon
doesn't
me?
have a, Leverett doesn't have a,
Solid waste.
Recycle?
board. No,
No,
but
they're-
it's actually, Gary, sort of some of what Annette does, though. It's just not as organized
It-
as we have it.
You know, we had a meeting with Jan Amin and who's the other one? Years ago about joining the Franklin County
Solid
waste.
district.
right,
Yeah, and you know, we told them what we were doing, and they said, You're doing everything that we would help you do, and why spend $5,000 a year to join
Yep.
us?"
Yep.
And so we didn't. But you know, things are changing. And you know, another thing is that, you know, our school doesn't really compost. And I've been in contact with a couple of people from Franklin County and and the secretary at the school who really would like to see composting going on. And so another thing that we need to do is see if it's reasonable. You know, we did this some years ago.
Yeah, I was
We
gonna
had
say, they have done it before, and I just
Yeah.
think with the kids, it's kind of,
Well, the guy
Right,
kind of
sustain the
crapped out
program.
on us, you know. I mean, he was picking up the stuff.
there was a big.
This is a
farm.
guy, yeah,
Yeah.
up in New Salem, and he was picking up the stuff, and it was going really well. And then he just stopped. He just, you know, I ran into some kind of problem. But there's another company that's doing it, Triple T, which has a good reputation. And so I think, you know, I think we need to look into that too. Merrill and I met with the principal and the head of the dining services, you know, in the school, and they said they were recycling so much stuff that we didn't need to worry about it. And then the secretary sent something out to Franklin County, and there was an interchange back, and I was involved in that back and forth. And she seems to think, the secretary, that we really do need some help composting, and we don't want to compost on site because of critters getting in.
Right.
And so, you know, it's kind of a conundrum, but I think we need to follow that up, and I will do that. I'll follow that up with
excellent,
Amy Donovan, right,
excellent.
at Franklin County. We'll see if we can get that, and we all need to find out how much it costs too, and whether we can make enough money in our revolving fund to cover it, or whether the school has to pay for it, in which case that changes the school's budget.
Which is unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
Gail?
Is there any thought about town residents not wanting composting on their own, but saving compost to put into like a town compost heap?
You know, a lot of municipalities, mostly larger ones, by the way, are doing organics collection, and the haulers will do an organics collection day and come by and pick up stuff,
Mhm.
you know, that people put out in special buckets.
Yep.
And then take them to a composting place. We haven't. I don't know that we're large enough to make that worth our while, you know, to pay somebody to do that collection. If we had a place where a real composting place, but you've got to almost have to have an anaerobic, you know, digester to make that work.
You know,
And I'm not,
going back to the new town gardens that are supposed to go up behind town hall, the community gardens, I would guess they will be starting, you know, compost heaps there. They'll be doing some composting. But the problem you run into is if you open that up to outside people to bring in things,
Who knows what
you sometimes get people
Yeah.
who treated their lawns, so they'll bring in, you know, pesticide or fertilized treated lawn clippings and add that to the pile, or they put in, meat scraps that attract critters. So it becomes a management issue.
Right.
So in the highway department clearly doesn't have, it's typically a highway department, a DPW is the one that runs a composting program for the town. And when I worked in South Hadley, we had a pretty big composting program going on there. But I just don't think we have the resources here to do a formal one. Informal maybe, but not a formal composting program.
Yes, Gail.
So that I would pick up then on what Gary said about the industrial, the heat of the industrial machinery would take care of if somebody's grass had been fertilized or by and meat scraps and so on. But
Well, that's it. If
your own
this guy-
backyard bin
Yeah.
isn't going to get hot enough to take care of that. But I could see, particularly with the gardens at Town Hall, in the new gardens behind Town Hall or wherever, the berm, there could be a town need for compost rather than us buying compost from all these places around at volunteers' expense. And if there were some way to arrange for residents to put out their compostable materials and it be cooked up someplace that we could go to and collect as compost, that would be a win-win, even if we had to pay for it.
Well, there are people who do that. This Triple T and the other one, like Clear View, something like that, in New Salem, that do have a industrial composting facility, and the trouble is you have to pay them for it,
Yeah.
for doing it, and then you have to pay for getting the compost.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, after they compost it, and so
Oops.
they will pick it up at a price. It's not terribly steep because they're using it to make something that they can sell.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
there's a price. Yeah.
yeah,
I
it
think
costs.
a better option though might be to get in touch with whoever is coordinating the community gardens. And the CPC budgeted something like $20,000 for that project. And that's a lot of money for what they're going to do. I mean, they'll probably spend some, but they can always go back for more. So we could ask them if they had money in there to start a more serious composting area for their gardens and see if that could work out. Or, I mean, we could even put in for a CPC grant to develop a composting program for them,
For the town,
for the town.
not just that garden, but for the town.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's the thought, if anyone wants to follow up with that and give us some.
Let me
thought.
follow up with Amy because she's been working with this Triple T place for years, and many of the schools in the area, including Leverett, I think, and New Salem, are part of this composting deal. And so if we can get our school involved,
Right.
Maybe there's a way for residents to get involved too. So let me check with Amy and see what we can work out.
Okay.
Tell us who
it's
Amy is
gonna-
again.
It's going to cost us though. That's the thing we have to think about.
Yeah, who is Amy again?
I'm going.
Amy Donovan, she works with Jana Mean at Franklin
Oh,
County.
okay.
Yeah.
Gary, your remarks about TT or whatever in New Salem, is that a place where anybody can go buy compost?
Where's this? Oh, yeah, sure. Triple T, and you can go buy compost there. And it's good stuff. I've seen the one, Clear View, I think is the name of the one in New Salem. I've seen his stuff. It's great. It's great stuff. But he sells it.
Tim, we'll have to try that.
Yeah. But I like the idea of composting for the community garden. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Even if it's just, 3 or 4 of our bins out there.
Okay.
You know.
I can,
If you can find out who's doing that, who's
Yeah.
coordinating that.
I think Elaine Paleo was involved with it, but I'm not sure who else, so I can try to look into that.
Recreation Committee.
Yeah, I know it's rec committee, but who specifically?
It used to be Jen Davies was doing that, but I don't know if she still is.
No.
Okay. Okay, so we're looking at a few different things regarding composting, which might be a really nice, addition to the town. Does anyone have
Yeah.
any other items they'd like to bring up?
I have a general question.
Go ahead.
I'm new on this committee, but I'm curious, in the past, has there been any interaction between this committee and the school in terms of working out ways to help kids learn about and become enthusiastic about recycling through any kind of programs or that might be set up with the school? To get the next generations to take recycling as a norm, as a necessity, not as an option, would be great. And I was just curious if any kind of educational things have been done or.
Well, Tim, back when Bob Mahler, this is a few years ago now, Bob Mahler was the principal. We had a composting program, and the
And the
teachers
milk
were
recycling program.
yeah. The teachers were doing recycling, training and stuff like that with the kids, and it was working really well. And then the composting guy bailed out on us, just quit coming. And then Bob Mahler left, and that was sort of the end of it. But it's a good idea. I mean, the fact that the secretary in the school is asking about composting now, I think, something, we need to contact them. We need to get in touch. Because I think that you're absolutely right. This needs to be something that can be part of an assembly. Actually, I know a guy who's on the MRF board, who goes around to schools and does things for assemblies and stuff like that about recycling. And that would be a good thing to do, I think. And you got to bring the teachers in too. They've got to really be committed to it and willing to do, some work with kids, especially around lunchtime. When they're getting rid of, they've got half a container of milk, and what do you do with it? I mean, there's because you can't just throw it in a recycling bin. There has to be a container washer, which we can actually get a grant for. So good thinking.
Build it
One
into the
thing,
curriculum somehow.
excuse me, Gail?
Build it into the curriculum somehow.
Yeah.
It has been in the curriculum in the past. That's the thing. It kind of ebbs and flows. It comes and goes. So depending on the teacher's interest and their ability to fit in additional
Right.
information. I mean, that's the problem, is that they have a full plate with what they're trying to teach now.
Yeah.
So to get additional units in or programming in is not always that easy. But
Well, and
sometimes
then we've been through COVID, and it's but now maybe is the time to start up again.
And it might well integrate into a science class.
Oh, absolutely.
What goes
Absolutely, yeah.
around comes back around, etc.
So what do you say, Meryl? Another talk with the principal?
we could do that.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Anyone else want to do that? Don't all volunteer at once.
I'd volunteer, but I think my main contribution to this committee will be to be a warm body and handing out bags and stuff like that. I've kind of, for the moment, I think I'm going to have my hands full with the library trustee stuff.
Yeah. I think
So
Yeah, that's a big thing, right?
I'm a little hesitant to get
Yeah.
involved with something that requires extended commitment and carry through. So forgive me for not volunteering.
Yeah.
And I would add to that, that if Merrill and Gary, you're able to meet with the principal and there's some enthusiasm that then requires some kind of follow-up action from our committee, I might be willing to follow up from there.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Thank you.
And publication on our town website page.
Anyone
great.
have anything else?
Yes, would you like to know what we made from over and above processing fees in October?
Sure.
Would you like to believe $647.54?
This is such great news because
Yeah.
Gary and I were sweating when we heard the
Oh.
presentation about
You know-
how now we're gonna be paying to get rid of our recyclables and
Oh,
what
I
the
I
tipping
did a
fees were.
calculation after
was
after
scary.
that regional meeting
Yeah,
that Marla and I went to. I did a calculation based on the amount of recyclables that we'd sent in the year before. $13,000 I thought it was going to cost the
To
town.
cost us, yeah.
yeah. I thought it was 17,000.
No, it
And,
was
you know, yeah,
and what
the great
happened-
news is it turned around, and what it tells us is that recycling markets across the country and other parts of the world have
Change.
picked up the slack that China dropped.
Wow.
So
Right.
that the and you know, just all these supply chain shortages we're all hearing about, well, it includes these raw materials too, or used materials, but recycled materials, but they're in demand now. So it's a great
Yeah.
thing.
So things have changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the contract that we're on now with Waste Management is way different from what we had before. Before we had 2 payments a year, the first half of the fiscal year, the second half, some arbitrary number would show up. We had no basis of knowing how it was derived, how it came from anything. And it certainly didn't appear to be related to tonnage of trash or recycling at all.
Right.
On this contract, every month I get the exact figures. Here are the tons of paper, of containers. It's a cost of such and such per ton. Your processing fee is blah, 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 and you get this over. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just,
And you don't have to throw a tantrum to get it.
no.
Right.
And I'll be very interested to see after we've done the first 6 months, a year on this contract and this way of going about it, how that compares to how it was being handled before. My guess is that we're way ahead this
That's
way.
great. Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
And-
get more credit from DEP in our grants if the recycling is much higher.
Right.
That'd be great.
Wow, that's great. So things are looking pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, we got some work to do, but things are looking good.
Good, good.
So let me just do a quick recap of all the things people are going to follow up with. And Gary, you win hands down with the most of them. I'm going to talk to the rec committee about the community garden composting idea. Gary and I together will talk to the principal about recycling at the school. And I'll send an email to the Board of Selectmen regarding contract renewal with USA Recycling.
Yeah.
Gary is going to ask around about hauler contracts.
I'm going to talk to
And then
Susan
he's
Waite
going
and
to-
Arlene Miller. Yeah.
Yeah, Susan Waite and Arlene Miller. And Arlene.
And weren't you going to talk to, what was it, Amy about?
I got a whole bunch more. I'm just getting going. Gonna talk to Clearview Compost in New Salem, or at least we know about that. He's gonna follow up with Amy Donovan regarding the composting program.
Yep.
He's gonna look at starting, well, we talked about meeting with the school and starting composting there. He's gonna write an article on textiles and mattresses for the webpage. Yeah,
Who's gonna do that? Me
yeah,
or Gail? I'm gonna do that?
I
Okay,
think so. Yeah.
okay,
Well, it doesn't have to be an article, but I mean, just a summary of all the new regulations
Right.
and then some of the process that you went through. You're gonna send Gail a list of what's accepted at town hall for the mercury bearing waste and what can go to Home Depot, a Lowe's, and a
all right,
reminder of electronics to Staples. Gail's gonna look into the canopy. And Gary's gonna estimate how much money we've made from Leverett Transfer Station stickers.
got it. And we're gonna talk to Becky about ordering bags right away.
Yes, yes.
That's me.
You're gonna do that? Okay.
I'm gonna do that.
Just do
Unless
it.
you want
Do
to,
the compost bins too, because those took forever.
right,
Just
right.
do it.
Okay,
Okay, bags and compost bins. And with that, does anyone have anything else? Going once, twice? Well, anyone want to propose adjourning the meeting? So moved. Okay. Thank you all for coming on and joining us, and we got a lot done and a lot to
We
do to
did.
follow up.
We
So
did.
Good meeting. Happy Thanksgiving,
did.
everybody.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, happy
see you in another
Thanksgiving.
6 months. I love this committee.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
the best
Bye-bye.
committee of all, right?
Good night.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.